Hi my darlings, welcome back to my channel. We're back again with a client tutorial today. I know it's been a minute, but welcome to another client transformation. And today I'm coming to you with this caramel model, Jessica. So first off, as always, you cleanse your face with the Garnier Micellar Cleansing water. Then I use the Badescu spray. For moisturizer, I'm using the Embryolise as always. You guys already know my skin prep routine by now, I'm sure. As always, all the products used are going to be in my description bar below. So for primer, I'm using the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. Her skin is pretty dry, so I stopped my skin prep routine at this point. So moving on to foundation, I'm using the Forever Dior foundation in the shades 5W mixed with 6W. So I mixed those two shades together to get our exact skin shade. And for beauty sponge, I'm using the Merak beauty sponge. As always, you guys know this is like the best beauty sponge ever. It's really soft, like you guys should just try it out. And you know why I'm always raving about this beauty sponge. So I just use this to share out that foundation. Her skin is pretty great, so like I didn't even want to do too much foundation, so that's all I used. But I realized it was a bit too dark, so I used more of the lighter shade after I was done to brighten it up a bit, which is what I'm doing right now. So moving to contour, I'm using 7, guys, I'm not sure if that's 7N or 7W, but yeah, it's a darker shade of the Forever Dior foundation, and I use that to contour her face. Then moving on to blush, I can't remember what I used for blush here, but I just used a dark pink shade for her blush. Moving on to concealer, I'm using the best concealer ever. Like this will forever do it for me, the Too Faced Born This Way concealer. I'm using the shade Butterscotch. So yeah, that's what I'm using to highlight her face. Guys, makeup artists in Nigeria, how are we all doing with this inflation? Guys, Milk Hydro Grip Primer, I think when I started buying Milk Hydro Grip Primer, it was like 20k. Now it's almost 60, if not 60 at this point. Like, things are crazy, and as a brand owner myself, I understand. Like, it's only by the grace of God that we're not going to increase our prices yet again, because there were times where we had to pay for our products and we paid at the rate of 1.819. So it's really scary, but as always, when everyone is declaring there's a casting off, we will declare there's a lifting up. So just choose to hold on to God's word. Don't choose to lean on your own understanding or what you're saying to try to figure out what tomorrow will look like. As it's hard. Me, I know, I'm telling you, it's hard. Me giving this advice, I'm trying so hard to hold on to the advice I'm giving you right now. But yeah, the only person we can hold on to right now is God, because he said he will never leave us nor forsake us. Because if we decide to look at what's going on around us, our faith will be shaky. So instead of looking at what's around us, we have to hold on to God, though. It's the only one we can hold on to, really. So yeah, I'm done blending out the concealer, and I'm going to go into setting powder now, and I'm using the Merak setting powder in the shade Ginger. This is the translucent shade, so I'm just using that to press it in. You moved away. I'm here to stay. I wish I could go back in time. I'm so sorry that I hurt you so deep. Swear I spent the last few years just trying to change. So to set the rest of her face, I'm using the Fenty Pro Filter powder in the shade 385. And to brighten up her under eye, I'm using this Hudabeauty Easy Bake powder in the shade Kunafa. So just using this for under eye. For contouring her nose, I used the same Fenty powder, but this time I used the shade 440. And to contour her face, I used 460, which is a darker shade. Then for blush, I use the classic blush palette. Yeah, classic is a classic product that I'm still using, yes, believe it or not. So we are done with the skin now. I'm gonna use the Charlotte Tilbury airbrush setting spray to break all that powder down and dry it down. Guys, look at that base, look at that skin, look at that skin. Oh, and by the way, hair by Lee Signature. I did this shoot with Lee Signature. So now I'm baking with the same ginger powder from Merak Cosmetics. Guys, this powder is amazing, and very soon you're gonna know why. Just stay tuned to the end of this video to know why this powder is all shades of beautiful. All right, so moving on to the brows. Well, not the brows yet, but I'm just putting in wax, the Browmatic brow wax, to just tame my brows so that it can dry before I come back to it after doing eyeshadow. So for eyeshadow base, I used the Benline Clown White. Guys, this has been a staple product in my makeup kit for over 10 years, and I'm still using it. Oh, not over 10 years, almost 10 years actually. Guys, your girl is gonna be 10 years in the makeup industry in a month's time. Like, I cannot even believe it. Like, 10 years? Really? So I'm using the Warriors palette by Juvia's Place for our eyes. Like, that's the only palette I use for this whole eye look. So I just started off with the lightest shade of brown, moved on to the darker brown. So I was just building up my browns. You guys know that brown shades, like I have a ton of brown neutral shade eye colors in my makeup kit because I'm a soft glam girl. Yeah, I am a soft glam girl. So I used like a reddish brown, then I went into a dark brown, and I just started by smoking it out, then bringing it into the crease.
You made this work, I made this worse. We fell apart 1,000 times, 1,000 times. You moved away, I'm here to stay. I wish I could go back in time.
Then I went into black. Well, it wasn't really black. The eyeshadow is not really black. Like, that's like a grayish black shade. So I just use this to just smudge the parts where, you know how I use the concealer to lift up the cheekbones. Yeah, so just that outer corner is where I concentrated that black shade. And now I'm just cutting it to re-emphasize what we did with the concealer before so that we don't lose it. And then I use this nude shade from the same palette. I use that as my main color. Then I went into a light brown just to have like it, just to act like a blend between the nude and the dark brown. And yeah, that's it for the eyes. So I'm going into the Merak charcoal black pencil now for her waterline and her tight line. Guys, look at how black this shade is, like literal charcoal, as the name implies. Just look at this baby. Like, look at the difference between both eyes. You need this in your kids, trust me. And you can use it all the way to the bottom, and it's still very creamy and soft. It doesn't dry out except you leave it open for, like, you just leave it open for days and it's just sitting there. And even if you do that, if you sharpen it, the upper layer will go off, and then underneath is still soft and smooth gliding. So yeah. So moving on, I decided to smudge that black liner. So I'm just smudging it with a smudge brush right now. After which I went into a dark, well, not a dark brown, like a reddish brown from the same palette I used. I really like when my lower lash line is like popping. So I went into this Match It Up lashes from Wink. Guys, I don't know whether you can tell right now, but my model was crying for Africa. Like, she was literally crying. Like, I had to cut off a lot of the parts where she was crying, but it was continuous tears, like continuously. But let me give you guys a trick. First of all, you need mirror powder. Yes, you heard me. You heard me. And second of all, don't start touching and fiddling with it so much. You start to create a patch. Just leave it. Leave it till it dries. Like you see at the end of this video, like I didn't even touch it till I was done. Like the more she was crying, I was like, just relax, relax, relax. Don't try to clean the tears. Just leave it. All right, so moving on. I'm doing the brows already. I know. I'm using the Merak angled brush for this step, and I used it with the H&E Brow pomade. Then you see our brows are really full, so I didn't really need to use too much brow pomade. I just used this Merak pencil to just fill in the areas where there's no hair, and the areas where there's hair I didn't even touch it at all. I apologize, some clips were a bit blurry. I wasn't looking. I apologize, but you can still get the gist of what I was doing. So I'm highlighting now with the Merak flat brush and a cream concealer. This one is from FBH. Just any cream concealer, really.
We fell apart 1,000 times, 1,000 times. You moved away. I'm here to stay. I wish I could go back in time, back in time. I'm so sorry.
So now I'm just blending out that concealer. Blend in this pattern so you don't mess up your eyeshadow. Look at that brow. Ooh, given. So now we're moving on to the lips, and I'm just lining with H&E Brow pomade. Yes, you heard me. In the shade Toffee, either Toffee or Nubia. I'm not exactly sure which one I used. So I just use this to line. After lining and blending it out, then I went into this Avour lippy in the number 03. So I just use this as my main color. Then for lip gloss, you guys see I'm almost out. It's like my favorite lip gloss. The Soopro lip gloss in the shade Vein is really, 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 really beautiful. Like it just elevates every lip that you use it on. So you can see that with all the tears Auntie Jessica cried on this day, all I just needed to do was let it dry, then dust off the excess setting powder, because there's already the bake there. Like if you have someone that's teary, make sure you bake, even if it's just a little powder underneath the eye to catch the tears, so that once you dust off that excess setting powder you used to bake, what you have underneath will not be ruined. Okay, all right, so I'm using the Dior highlighter to highlight her face right now, and we are almost done, you guys. To finish up, I'm using the Soopro Cosmetics Silhouette Spray. I went into mascara to apply on her lower lashes, and that is pretty much it, you guys. Like I said, everything is going to be in the description bar below. All the products used, the hairstylist, Instagram. I hope you guys enjoyed this look. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys. Mwah.